Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about these Cavalier guaranteed bundles, and throughout the course of the video I will ask you guys the question that I am trying to kind of put a finger on. I would like to know, what do you guys personally think about the addition of these bundles, and even more specifically perhaps about the idea that you can purchase guaranteed 5-star champions virtually daily now, going days on in, days on out. And additionally, to how much value you place on these bundles and how impactful do you think these are? And then to continue further, what do you think these signal about kind of like the progression of the game or the direction the game's going? And before I start discussing anything else in today's video, number one, I need to acknowledge that my personal valuation of these bundles obviously is extremely skewed due to the fact that I have played the game for an extremely long time, due to the fact that I have virtually all the 5-star champions already, and realistically I don't use 5 stars for anything meaningful in this game at all whatsoever. So, you know, obviously to me these bundles represent absolutely no value or interest, and it would be very easy for me to just be absolutely indifferent. It's just kind of shrug my shoulders and go like, whatever. At the same time, I do want to make a distinction in between these rerun 5-star bundles and the 5-star bundles of early access champions, of the champions that are coming out, because there, as a content creator, I can genuinely find a difference of importance level to my channel, because the new champions are always more exciting. If you make a video about freshly released champions, more likely to get views. In addition, it's a way for me as a content creator to get accustomed to these new release champions in order to be able to evaluate them better or learn about their interactions. So for me personally, obviously, these early access bundles that also have recently started to include the guaranteed versions of the 5-star champions now represent, you know, significantly bigger value, even if it's not in any meaningful gameplay sense, not in any meaningful increase in my ability to clear content. It's more so from the perspective of content creation and learning about new things. That being said, obviously, I'm not going to be taking 5-star champions rank 5 or trying to use them in AQ or Alliance War or anything of the sort. I do that pretty much exclusively with 6-star champions, and only 5-star champions that ever find their way on my questing teams. It's just either purely for fun or it's due to a synergy or something of the sort. So all that being said and all that put aside, again, I understand that not everybody is in that situation, which is why I didn't want to neglect the addition of these offers, because as stated in the name, they are targeted, for instance, for Cav players. And when you are Cavalier level player, you still have majority of Act 6 to do, majority of Act 7 to do. 5-star champions are still perfectly viable in Labyrinth and in Abyss, and you can use them still very proficiently in many other game modes. So 5 stars matter to a large group of players, in my personal opinion, which again, you can feel free to comment on and or discuss. So that being said, assuming that if I put my elitist country club snob personal valuation of 5-star champions in Milestones of Champions aside, and I approach this from a more mid-tier level player, 5-star champions are still desirable, valued, and useful. That being said, the idea that we have a guaranteed acquisition of specific 5 stars that you are hunting is brand new to this game that has never existed. Now, I always like to make the argument that this game has survived as long as it has because it always was hard to acquire things. It always was hard to get the champions, was always hard to progress, because through difficulty and through so-called suffering we find meaning in the acquisition, in the idea that if it's super easy to get everything, as in like have 300 units, buy one cow crystal that has at least a guaranteed chance of giving you, you know, brand new 5-star, you wouldn't care about 5 stars because you'd be getting all of them. So pulling something, you know, just doesn't matter. The idea of all of these crystals is, and their tiny drop rates, and having majority of crystal openings be disappointing, be bad, be, you know, of champions that you might not necessarily want, is to give you joy and some sort of satisfaction when you do acquire the champions or the materials or the resources that you want, that you have chased. If all of that would be easy, it wouldn't matter. It's kind of like, I don't know, probably not many hunters or fishermen here, but if you go fishing and every time you every time you throw the hook in the water, a fish bites within a second, that would make fishing different. It would be a completely different type of hobby, and it would devalue the emotion a fisherman would have when you actually get a fish. If that would be a super easy thing to do, and if you would accomplish it every time, it loses its meaning. That's kind of my argumentation of one of the main reasons why this game has mattered, because in this game you can spend $10,000 on a specific cow crystal or some set of cow crystals, and you can spend all that money, and you're still not going to be where a ton of people who have spent plenty of time are, because here in this game the acquisition of resources, as put aside from the special offer days, is typically fairly slow, fairly grindy, and similar things go to acquisition of champions. And now that we have seen that Kabam is much more willing to give us this guarantee, to give us this cheat code of you want it, you have it. And I'm sure that a lot more people are familiar with the feeling of accomplishment when you clear content, opposed to a feeling of accomplishment when you purchase an offer. Like, I bought July 4th offers, and they gave me a great set of rewards. And yeah, sure, it's, nice you get all the good stuff, but you didn't put any work or effort in doing so. Not really. Maybe, aside from grinding units, but, you're not going to congratulate yourself for grinding arena much. At the same time, when I beat Abyss, within first week it came out, and had to struggle for the rewards, and I had to actually put in work and effort, those rewards felt a lot more meaningful because I worked very, very hard for them, is the point that I'm trying to get. So I'm personally quite worried about the idea that Kabam is seemingly persistently de-valuing accomplishment in the game in favor of monetary offers or grindy offers. And this game kind of becomes less important of what you do, what content you clear, how you play, how well you play, and stuff like that, opposed to how many units you grind for the big sales or how many offers you buy meanwhile. And that is becoming increasingly more and more important thing. So I'm personally, especially when it comes to champions, not necessarily in favor of seeing this right now in front of the screen. And whilst it's easy for me to stomach the addition of guaranteed 5 stars, if this was a guaranteed addition of 6 stars, it would be much harder for me to do so. That is exactly the reason why I understand that at the moment there likely are quite a huge group of players that are finding themselves in extreme difficulty to stomach the addition of guaranteed 5 stars. Because these 5 stars matter to them. They mean a lot to them because they represent progression. They represent your ability to complete content and so on and so forth. Because at this level, I just don't care about 5 stars. Therefore, I'm not particularly fussed about these offers. But, that's just my personal kind of like standpoint here. If I was much lower in the game status, and if I would see my teammates picking up, 2 new 5 stars a day, whilst I struggle through content and, get crappy dupes of champions that, are likely never going to get buffed and suck anyways, I would be feeling relatively discouraged, to say the least. So that is exactly the question that I want to ask here. And I do understand that much of my channel content is kind of often aimed at the higher progression level players, but I don't ever want to forget people who are on their way up to those higher progression levels. And that's why I want to ask you. Number one, if you are a spending player, do you plan on purchasing these offers when perhaps specific 5 stars you want to acquire are coming around? Number two, If you are of this Cavalier progression level or similar to it, and you are not spending player, how do these offers impact you, or they make you feel, or what do you think about these offers? And number 3, if we are following the logical progression to its natural conclusion here, then it's only a matter of time till there will be 6-star champions offered guaranteed at more frequent basis. Now, we see that already currently in the game with more exclusive or trophy champions and these occasional offers that come around. For the first time ever, extremely recently, we saw Kang being offered as, a guaranteed 6-star. I didn't pick it up, by the way. Still don't have a 6-star Kang. Still don't have a 6-star Vision as well, which is obviously a guaranteed 6-star pickup. And then we can talk about Scarlet Sigil or Unstoppable Colossus. So we already do have a precedent of Kabam offering a specific 6 stars for, set amount of value or money. And given how freely they seem to be adding these specific 5 stars to early access bundles, now they're adding two champions a day, basically, that you can get guaranteed. That I do think that over time, it would only be natural for these to be 6 stars with increased price tag. In which case, obviously, it would affect many more players immediately, and it would garner much bigger reaction from people. Some would love it, some would hate it. I am quite fearful of it for the reason that I explained. I think the meaning of success comes from the possibility of failure. So, I'm personally going to be following the situation quite closely in what kind of direction MCOC is taking. It's obvious that we all can see what kind of direction MCOC is taking right now. But there are definite lines, in my opinion, that Kabam should not cross. And, in my personal opinion, as a high-tier player and content creator, I think adding 6-star champions guaranteed bundles like this is something that Kabam absolutely should not do. But let me know what you guys think. Do you like these bundles? Do you find them to be fair value? And will you be getting any of them? And if you're not getting any of them, what's your opinion about them being introduced in the game in the first place? Yeah, drop a comment, and I'll catch you guys soon. See ya.
Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the